Moonies! Welcome to the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast. I'm your host, Victoria L. Johnson. I'm here with Assanté, or as you may know him, Hey Assanté, on the internets. He's the host of all of your favorite podcasts, including The Friend Zone and If I Were a Rapper. Super excited to have him here. Hey Assanté, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm super excited to talk about Sailor Moon with you.
I'm excited too. It's always a good time whenever we're talking about the moons, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't want to get punished.
No, do not want to get punished in the name of the moon.
Okay?
I only want to win love by daylight and fight evil by moonlight.
That's right. Never run from a real fight.
Never, never. I always love that line because she's like, "I'll run from a fight, but I won't run from the real fight."
Okay, never running from a real fight.
Right?
Okay.
It's a little difference. He's like, "I'm gonna run from the little villain monster of the week, but not the main in the main
O-
battle at the end of the
Okay,
episode.
but
I got you."
but when it get real,
Right?
okay,
A real
I'm there.
exactly. um, Speaking of the amazing intro song, what's your first memory of watching Sailor Moon?
My first memory of watching, wow. Um, I feel like okay, so do you know like the timeline of Sailor Moon?
Ish,
Like
yeah.
okay, so before it came on like Cartoon Network, I
Hmm.
didn't watch it, but I feel like it used to randomly come on early in the morning on like Fox or ABC or something. And I caught it once or twice and I was like, damn, this is like a really cool cartoon. Like I gotta watch this one day. And then finally, like it started coming on regularly on like Saturday morning cartoons, and then they threw it on Cartoon Network. And I just remember it being like I had to every time I came home from school, I had to find out what Serena and them was doing.
Serena and them. I love that. Yeah, so you're definitely right. It came on Fox and I think it also came on WB
Oh,
early in the morning.
WB,
Yeah.
yes.
I want to bring it all the way back.
Warner Brothers had it on lock with the morning cartoons.
Seriously, every day, every day. It was either that or I was watching Hey Arnold on Nickelodeon. But
Hey, Arnold.
do. Yeah, so you're definitely right. Before, and I think even during, because there's a lot of people. There's like a split between people who watched it on Toonami and people who watched it in the mornings, and then there's like people who watched it at other random times. They'd be like, "I saw it at 2 a.m." It's almost like I saw it on this other channel. But
Yeah,
I think
it definitely has like its following, and then I feel like there are like these cold divisions between people that got it on like the Fox WV versus like the Toonami folks. And I was like, why? I just kind of got it because I remember catching it in the morning and not catching, I guess, like the full story arc, if you will. Like I guess I was
Mhm.
just getting episodes from whenever of what was happening versus when Toonami was like showing it. They were showing it like in order, so I was making more sense of how the story was coming together. I was like, oh, so this is like a whole thing. It's not just a bunch of one-offs. Like, Power Rangers doesn't really come together. You can kind of watch, well, I guess except for when they're like arranging the Rangers. Outside of that, you can watch any of the other episodes in any order, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing that caught me too is when I was watching it on Toonami was that it was a show that had like every episode like continued the story. So it was like, oh, I gotta tune in every day to see what happens next. That was always really great with that show because, like I said, I was watching Power Rangers too, like Hey Arnold, like we just mentioned, but you can kind of watch it whenever. But Sailor Moon was that soap opera that
Yes, yes, Sailor Moon had action going. There was a soap opera on the side. Then she randomly
happened.
had like a baby that was like her cousin from that pretended to be her cousin, and she was from the future. And then you got the technology because the Luna ball. I was like, Sailor Moon is cooking with a lot of things, and I'm here for it. Like I loved I had an older sister. She loved Dragon Ball Z, and so she would always be like, I can't believe you watched the Sailor Moon. I'm like, well, I mean, I just have to get it in. Like, I have to see who's transforming this week, or I have to see which Sailor Scout finally gets caught up. Because you remember when they were building their team initially, you didn't
Mhm.
know who the Scouts were. You just remember like the colors and the intro of like I guess what was it, their spirits or something floating in space. And so
Yeah, I
when they
guess.
were finally like, yeah, so then when they were finally like showing the reincarnations, I guess, being chosen. I was like, oh, so Lita, the one cooking, that's Jupiter. Okay. Amy, the one that's the smart one. Okay, that's Mercury. Like watching the stories all come together. Ugh. I could talk about Sailor Moon all day. This is amazing.
Man. Oh, let's see this. I tell people you are in the right place because legit, that is what we do. You mentioned a few things. I'm wondering if you have like any favorite episodes or favorite moments you remember.
Okay, so okay, so since this is the place, right?
This is
Sailor Moon, I had to rewatch recently. One of my favorite arcs, I should say, is the Sailor Saturn arc with Hotaru. And so like watching that now in like Sailor Moon Crystal was kind of cool, but I really loved I think they're like two different animation styles versus how they did it then versus how they do it now, which is like really cool. But I really liked how it was in the old version and the new version still, had me choked up. I ain't gonna lie. But I love like
Mhm.
watching the friendship between uh Chibiusa and Hotaru and how that came into fruition and then watching all the things that Hotaru had to like go through and overcome and then just to find out that she's the baddest bitch of them all for one moment and then to save the day. I was just like this is amazing like to see all the other planets kind of come together. So the Hotaru story arc that is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah,
Love Saturn.
that is one of the best arcs. I think in a lot of animes I've seen actually, not just in Sailor Moon, but I think it's just a really great arc. And yeah, absolutely. Like Mistress Nine is a bad bitch. Like Sailor Saturn is a bad
Ooh,
bitch. Like I'm just like, oh man, anytime, anything. There's actually
I
some.
gotta give it up.
Mhm.
I got to give it up to Mistress Nine just because she came and what was the doctor, her dad, like the helper's name?
Oh,
Was that
Homo.
Kaori?
Oh,
Oh,
Carrie Knight. Yeah.
oh my God.
Red
I
hair.
will say when Mistress Nine was like playing Kaori to the left, it was funny watching that because I know Hotaru really didn't like her ass, and whoever and Mistress Nine didn't like her ass either when she finally woke up. I was like, this is hilarious. And those like little moments stuck with me because it's so emotional watching everything about Sailor Moon is so emotional outside of, the power, which there's power in emotion, I guess, right?
Mhm.
But I just love those like little funny moments that they have that it's not taken seriously because they are high school teenagers and they have lives too.
That is kind of funny when you mention it. It's like even when I'm in a different form, I still don't like you. Like
Right.
just
And now I can finally unleash now that I'm back.
right.
Okay.
In case you thought it'd be different, it's not.
And even though this girl that's taking over my body as host, we don't like each other. We don't like you either.
Right. Like any form I take doesn't like you. That's
Okay, it's just not
serious.
happening.
Yeah. That is so serious. Like I really just don't fuck with you energy. Like no matter
Like
what.
literally on any level,
Mhm.
it will never be.
Right.
What's your favorite story arc? I just have to know.
Oh man. So I really love I love a few story arcs, oh gosh. So I love when Chibiusa becomes Wicked Lady.
Oh my God, the whole. I just noticed the movies on Netflix were about that story arc. I didn't realize that like with Pegasus and all that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna actually have to sit down and watch this now.
Yeah, it's like it's weird. So it's like the reboot, but it's like season 4 of the reboot, essentially. The
So
movies.
did they just skip ahead or did they fill those in Crystal?
So Crystal, they have season 1 through 3, and then the movie that just came out, instead of doing season 4, they just
Oh,
two-part
they
movie.
put it into a movie form. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I liked it. I think Crystal's been kind of weird for me, but I feel like this was the best I've seen from Crystal. Um, but yeah, so I also love like Saturn's arc. And
Oh
then
my gosh, Saturn, yes.
yeah,
Oh, sorry. I
no,
was we just got finished talking about Saturn. I thought about it all over again. I thought about I just thought it was so like because it's like I said, it's so emotional. It was just so cute watching Chibiusa have her friend and like how like what she would go to for her friend, like what she would go through for her friend, and like this like compassion that she was showing for this person she barely even knew, but
mhm.
they were such fast friends, and it was such a beautiful arc, and I just can never get over it. I'm gonna rewatch that right after this.
Yeah, I might too. The way yeah, because Saturn is also Lizzo's favorite, and I'm just like I love her all the more for that too.
Taste,
Ta
taste.
right? My last favorite arc is the final season, Stars. I don't know if you've seen that one. That one's kind of harder to come back. I think it's on Hulu. Is
You know what's crazy?
Mhm.
Okay, so did Stars ever come on TV?
No.
Okay, so that I remember that not that being a thing. Like I remember one day, because uh, the internet I feel like really just built up over the past 10, 15 years. But like I remember one day oh, you know what? Because this was back in like the Kazaa, Napster days, like the file
Ooh.
sharing days.
Hmm.
I was, that's where I like downloaded and watched Stars. And like, because I remember being like, I need to find out what this is. Because on Google back when it was like Angel Fire, those like little small websites,
Wow. Yeah.
I read up on all the, I remember reading up on all the villains and everybody, and I saw Stars, and I was like, who the fuck are they? And the pictures were throwing me off because it was the costumes in the like the when they were the heroes, and I thought they were the women, and then I saw that they
Oh,
weren't.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so when I finally like watched it, I was like, okay, so this is cool that they're doing this, but like are they just never going to show this in America?
Listen, I have a theory because they censored a lot in the American version. Like they made Sailor Uranus and Neptune cousins rather than like a couple. And
Right.
like so I feel like they saw Stars and was like, there's no way we can censor this. Like we don't know how to even tackle
Yeah.
this.
This is where we draw the line.
Yeah, we can't. It's too hard to censor because you have like they're women when they're Sailor Senshi, but they're men in their human form. And I feel like, especially in the '90s, like they're just they didn't know what to do. They were like, we cannot censor this. We're just not going to air it.
But even those villains, I don't remember which ones they were. They just had like they had very like flamboyant costumes. I felt like when I was younger, I was like, wow, these guys are like, with the exception of, oh my God,
So-
one of the like best storylines when I was younger was the one with the brother and the sister. Like the
yes, Alan and Anne. Or-
yes, that
Yeah,
was one of the best story arcs. But I feel like wow, I just got like taken off step after thinking about that because that was so funny watching like Darian and Serena like have these whole like separate experiences with this. And I felt like the brother and sister kind of had something weird going on too. But I was bringing all this up to say that it was weird watching the villains, like some of the male villains, because I feel like the circus, they were wearing like crop tops or something. Like I felt like they were kind of like ultra feminine, but they still made sure that they were just males, which I realized that they could get away with saying that the lesbians were cousins because that's a common lie. But what are you gonna say about these villains? But they ain't need to since they were just villains. They ain't develop their stories like that.
yeah. Even like the Zoocyte and Kunzite were a couple, but I think they just made Zoocyte a woman in the and we're like, just give her a woman's voice. She's a woman now. She's not a man. Um,
Oh, and the new one, they made her a woman.
no, in the '90s in the English one, '90s English one. So in the one on Hulu, they do it like right, and then they keep them as a man, and then in the Crystal one, she's a man too, and then the original
Oh, yeah,
source
but in the old one,
material.
but in the '90s when it was a woman.
Yeah,
Ah,
in the English dub, they made him
hmm.
a woman in order to not make them a gay couple. And then there's something else I was gonna say about oh, and then the like you said, the villains, the fisheye. I always forget, but they also changed their gender. Um
Oh my God, Zoisite definitely was a woman back in the day, but like that butch woman, that was the one that was Jupiter in love with that one or somebody.
no, they were because I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't think anyone was in love with them. Maybe Jupiter had a crush, possibly. I don't know. But
Oh,
what about
Queen.
Nephilim and Molly got together? That might be what you're thinking about.
Oh my God, Molly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Serena. Oh, Molly was so cute back in the day. And Melvin, was that his
Yup.
name? The friend?
Melvin. Mm-hmm. It's so good. It's just so good. But yeah, I also
Melvin was way out of his league.
yeah, he really because he started dating Molly, and I feel like I don't know how that happened, but I was like, good for y'all.
They was both bored. They knew they wasn't gonna be Sailor nothing, so they just ended up together.
Yeah. I feel like that's exactly what happened. It was like, you know what? Serena keeps like going off and like, let's hang out. And then they just ended up together. But yeah.
Oh
But
God.
I also love Alan and Anne. that story. Like I just love like the Doom Tree, and it's like it needed love, and I always thought that was just a cool story and a cool like little twist. I don't know if you remember that, but that was so good.
Yeah, because it was like they would go into their apartment and it would do that like cool like little like otherworldly thing because of the tree because or it looked like a different realm or something.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, the Doomtree arc was like it was just something super serious about that and like the jealousy that was ensuing. And weren't they like really green or something?
the aliens, yeah, yeah, they're like green with like blue and pink hair.
Oh yeah, and one the brother he played that that clarinet.
Oh
Surprised that wasn't Lizzo's favorite. No, I'm just playing.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, and I don't think they were pretending to be siblings, but they actually weren't, if I remember correctly.
Right, they were pretending.
Yeah.
Well, so that's what threw me off. I didn't know that they were pretending. I thought that they,
Hmm.
because adult me realizes back, okay, they were pretending because that was their cover since they were aliens and there was only two of them,
Right.
and it would make sense for them to pretend to be related versus them just being two strangers that live together, going to school together at that age.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. But at the time, I really thought that they were siblings that like had this thing for each other and was like messing with other people. I was like, what is going on this show? Like it felt like a soap opera, but the other kind of way, like a little Tyler Perry today.
Yeah. What am I thinking of? You know that movie with I think Sarah Michelle Gellar, where the
Uh,
true no, oh man,
Serendipity, where she's like cooking.
no, I don't know. Cruel Intentions.
Cruel
You remember that?
Intentions. Oh my God, with Ryan Philippe and all
I
them.
think so. Yeah. That's what I was just thinking of that because I remember they were like siblings who like to mess with people, and I'm like, huh. It just I don't know why my brain
Yep.
went there. But yeah.
No, you're right though, because they were.
Mhm.
It was like that wild living, and that's literally. Had I thought about Cruel Intentions at the time, I would have been like, "This is some Cruel Intention shit." Because you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Like it was, like, and then there was at the school kind of scamming a little bit because they needed the energy for the tree. So,
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. Now I gotta rewatch both of these and be like, what other connections are here? Because something's going on. But yeah, I don't think I put together that they were pretending either when I was a kid. I just thought like, oh, they're like weird and like they have a thing for each other, and I don't know. I just like never.
right, because they were both the aliens. So I was like, "Oh, so they're related. Like it's only them two, so they are brother and sister. I get
Yeah,
it." And then I was like, "Wait, are they brother and sister?"
it's kind of weird. What's going on? Why are they jealous of them dating other people? But yeah,
Hmm.
but yeah, all good things. So I think you may have answered this, but do you have a favorite Sailor Scout?
Ooh, I feel bad, right? Because I love. Okay, so I'm gonna give two answers. I'm gonna give a inner senshi and an outer senshi, right?
Okay, I like that. I like that.
Okay, I'm not gonna name Saturn only because we've already made it clear how important she is. So I'll say Pluto for the outer senshi is one of my favorites, or is probably my favorite outer senshi, just because she is another one of those like effective supports that we just didn't get enough of. Like I think was she like the guardian of time? Like she was super important.
Yeah.
Like whenever Rini was like going back and forth, she would see her and stuff.
Mhm.
But Pluto was just a bad bitch. Like the long hair, the cute earrings, the heels. Like I know Ray and oh my God, what was Venus's name? I mean,
Mina.
uh, was it always Mina?
Oh wait. Oh, what was her English? Was it
Well, Mina,
Mina?
Venus, I just remember their voices so like like their English voices back in the day so distinctly, and I'm just like always laughing when I think about them because Lita's always makes me laugh. Like like whoever voiced Lita back in the day, it sounds like who was voicing Naruto like when he was
You know
younger.
what's so
I
funny
was like,
about you saying that? I'm sorry to cut you off.
no,
So
please.
in the new dub, the person who voices Sailor Jupiter is a new actress, and she voices Boruto.
See, somebody knew that they was in the same
You know,
wheelhouse. They knew what they needed. It's a type. It's definitely a
it
casting choice. It was a type.
definitely is. That's so funny.
I'm glad you knew that. To bring it back, so it's like I do know something, right? Um, so Pluto and the outer senshi, my inner senshi, I really loved Ray. and it's not because of the long hair. It's just because Ray used to go off on Serena, and the way they used to fight over Darian, and even like though she knew that she was like Queen Serenity or whatever, like she still was like shooting her shot, and so there has something that has to be said, for a woman to be like, yeah, that's your husband, but he still might be my soulmate. Like I give her, I give her so many points for that. 'Cause I just always thought like, damn, she is over the top, but go ahead, girl, get yours, persevere. And then she was running things at the temple, and she could talk to the spirits.
Mhm.
So, those are my two favorites for sure.
You think Ray was listening to Alicia Keys?
she was listening to some Brooke Valentine because it's about to be a what?
Yeah.
Like she was doing everything. Shoot, she said, "Some city girls, I'll take your man." Like Ray was ready with the program, and then she had her two birds.
Mm,
Fuck with Ray, you probably get it from the two
true.
birds. I don't think we ever got nothing from them, but Ray was just always that was always sending her the symbols and the
Mhm.
signs, and she's one to trust. Amy's book smart, but Ray, she's street smart. She's spirit smart. That's who I need on my team in the anime.
You so right. Because in an anime, like you need someone who's spirit smart. Like I need to know when the evil spirits are around. What I like, throw a thing at them. Like help me
Okay, what is that called? I was trying to think of it too when she has the
out.
little the spells on the
I was
paper.
just trying to think. I keep thinking talisman, but I don't think that's what it's called.
Oh, I'm so
I
mad.
know.
But yeah, Ray, she kept those on deck.
I think it is a talisman. I think, or Ofuda is what this one thing is saying. But I think it's also called a talisman.
Oh, Fuda.
Yeah, at least that's what some people on the
Well,
internet say.
Ray had talismans on deck and more. She had them whenever she needed to ward off Serena from her man,
Right?
or if she needed to ward off them damn villains coming into town.
Dope. Yup. Yeah, I completely agree. She's grown on me over the years, and she's definitely super cool. Like her heels are everything, and I feel like
Right? OG Red Bottoms, the
mhm,
original Red Bottom.
original, like bam. And yeah, like Lita Jupiter is a moment, and I also love Pluto. And I hope whenever you watch the new movie, she has an outfit in there, and you're gonna know once you see it. I was just like, Pluto is having a hot girl summer, and I'm here for it.
Yes.
She got
Oh my
short
God.
shorts. I was like, okay, Pluto.
See, Pluto deserves Pluto. She needed her. So we needed like a whole like futuristic story arc where like Pluto, like we saw how she got her job or became called to this because these they're from the palace in what like the 30th century or something crazy like in the future.
Yeah,
So the girls that were is that how it
sort
is?
of. It's weird. So they're from the past, but they get reincarnated. But Pluto, but yeah, Pluto works
So
in the future
Pluto's from
though.
the Yeah, so that's why I want to kind of see because they're like, we're watching the show about the reincarnations. So it would be dope to see if Pluto's story comes from like if there was like a reincarnation of her in like the present timeline that we have that just never awakened. And of course she would know because she's a reincarnation. But then also to see like what her what it's like in the 30th century because we always get these like little dreamy glimpses and it would just be cool to have like a little moment there and it not we don't see any of the other scouts we just like hear about how like important they are or something and then Pluto's dream to become one and then how she does become one and maybe seeing Rainy every now and then like it would just have been really cool to get like a little extra from Pluto that had nothing to do with what we were getting now but also to just give us more of what we might get in the future. Just need that. Somebody put me on staff.
For you might have explained something that has confused fans for a long time because I think at some point like Pluto dies, but then she comes back and people are like, "Wait." And then she like all of a sudden has like a random like career and they're like, "Wait, where did you get this job? You got a PhD now? Like what has been going on?"
Wait, in the new
No,
one?
in the original and in the new one. Well, more in the original really.
They told this story in the original?
Well, not how I said it. I explained it a lot more than they did because it was just really confusing when they did it. It was like, wait, Pluto's back? Okay. And I'm wondering if it was her reincarnated version because we only met her version from the future who came back, but we
Right.
never, she should have a reincarnated version too in the current timeline.
Right.
So I'm wondering maybe. he just got
Right.
awakened, and that's how Pluto came back.
Because it's only Pluto and Rini from the future,
Yeah,
right? Because Neptune and them, they've been there. They just wasn't fucking with
basically,
them.
yeah. It
Like,
was like, all right, we'll help you out now. I guess y'all need our help, but we gotta work.
right? Look, y'all. Because at first they was real like y'all better stay out
Yeah,
our way, or we gonna get y'all hoes too.
literally said that more or less. Like stay out our way, or you will like we'll fight, and did fight.
Like it's like how y'all came to town, and y'all on our turf fighting our crime and telling us to stay
Mhm.
out of it. Like where they do that at?
There was hey, there was the big cousins, there was the big homies, so you couldn't. What you gonna do?
Okay, the OGs they put their foot down. What could you do? You right.
Exactly. So it is what it is. But yeah, I like your favorites list. I feel like that's a really good, solid list. Like, so we got Sailor Mars, Sailor Pluto, and Sailor Jupiter, and then Sailor Saturn with the asterisk because we talked about her. Okay,
Okay. Shout out
I
to
feel it.
Saturn.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Thank you. You know, I love. I felt very prideful in those choices because those are real like childhood moments.
Yeah. Listen, it's so important. People are like, "Don't tell me your astrology sign. Tell me your favorite Sailor Scout," because
Okay.
it's just as important. Just as important.
Okay, it's like mine's Saturn. Like, oh, so you're a little bit destructive, huh? It's like, I can be, but you know, we can be reborn from the ashes if you play your cards right. So it's like, oh,
Mhm. Turn into Mistress Nine on you.
okay, okay, shoot.
Yeah, I
Oh,
love it. That's super cool. Well, I also want to talk about you because you recently had a Moonie on your show, Miss Dawn Richard.
that's right. That's right. Yes, Dawn Richard was recently a guest on our show, when that was amazing. Actually, it's crazy that it was crazy to have her on our show. It was such a full circle moment for me, and I even told her on the show how cool it was when I was younger hearing her when they first got into the band or the group rather, and she was telling the story about Danny Kane in the comic. It actually made me think about like I remember then thinking about how like oh that's so cool like a black girl that's like on some Sailor Moon type shit. So here we are, same week, talked to a fellow Mooney Don Richard, and now I'm part of the Mooney fan club, and feels great to be indoctrinated. But yeah, love that.
Yes, I love that for you. She's also a Mars stan too, just so you know. There we
See,
go.
see, she know
It's
what's
coming around, yeah. She said like
up.
she just loves characters who like have fire. So like she was like, oh,
You know why she
she's
said that.
Aries too, I think, right? Oh, are you?
No,
Oh,
she a Leo.
okay.
She a Leo. You know, look, not a fire sign, but that
Mm,
pride, that
I can see
pride.
that. Yeah. Hmm.
You know, them Leos love they love some
That's
fire. So
true. I can. Yep. Yeah, but yeah, that was super cool. You had her on the show. Big fan of your podcast too. You're on my podcast. Love your podcast. Um, yeah. So, how did the Friend Zone podcast come about?
Oh
Mhm.
yes, the Friend Zone. So the Friend Zone podcast, me, Dustin, and Fran, we all talk about mental health and wellness. Because who in the hell wants a musty brain, as Dustin would ask. And definitely not anyone listening to this show because, you know, all the Moonies, y'all ready, okay? But yeah, we talk mental health and wellness, but it's from the scope of friendship. We want it to be like a place where you can get a little bit of, you can get educated on something or something pique your interest, and it's a safe space. And we also make sure we laugh because sometimes, well, all of the time, you need some laughter to escape your day. And it's kind of funny because we are friends that do a podcast, so it's really like you are in the friend zone when you're listening because everything that we put into the show is kind of how we are when we're in person. Like whenever we meet up, we have some of the same moments that we have that we would on the show. So it's very organic and real.
I feel like the best podcasts come out of those dynamics where it's like we just always, whenever we get together, we have good conversations. We should just start recording them and putting them out in the world.
Yeah, and then you know, it's such a blessing to have a platform where we can put out our intentions, and we have so many people that share the intentions and even share the interest enough to be there and make little changes in their lives or just laugh with us and sometimes at us. I would say with jokes that they still laugh at me for, but I don't want to continue to make those funny.
Understandable. Well, I
Right.
guess you could, well, maybe not get back to them, but you can have a fun game about them. If Fran and Dustin were Sailor Senshi, which ones do you think they would be? Or Sailor Scouts?
Ooh. Okay, so this is super
Mhm.
hard, right? Because Dustin ain't finna be no scout. So Dustin finna be tuxedo mask or look, if Dustin had to be a scout, like he would choose, he'd be like, well, which one's the nigga? So you know the answer
Sailor
to that one
Jupiter.
then. Well, no, don't do leader like that. You
Listen, she's
know?
tough, man. I feel like, oh, I guess you could say Uranus because she got the girl first.
Right.
Okay, all right,
You just said
okay.
Jupiter first.
Listen, Sarah Jupiter be ready to
No,
like
but
kick, like punch, like she's tough. So I feel like she's the most tomboy of
I
them all.
mean, super like hardcore. Lita, it's so funny because Lita was so like tough, and they were trying to make her a big softie by making her this big cooking guru or
Mhm.
Martha Stewart or something. And I was like, nah, she's still too butch. She's still ready to fight. The hair's always up in the pony. She
It's
always ready to go.
duality. It's balanced.
Right, right. So I guess Dustin would be. I'm tied between Tuxedo Mask
Okay.
and Uranus. Fran, ooh. See, Fran, I want to say is also like a mix between some too. Like she would be. I'm. I don't want to say she's Sailor Moon, but she's definitely Queen Serenity, right? You know, for obvious
Okay.
reasons. But I would also pick her. Because it's funny that Dustin would be Uranus and she would be Neptune because there's that elegance that Neptune has. Neptune is just so like elegant and talented, and also and she be ready too. Like she went from being like, oh, isn't this so nice and lovely to also I'm backing up with I'll whoop your ass too if you get involved in our
Mm,
cases. So definitely a mix between somewhere in there. But I also want to give her a little bit of I want to give her a little bit of Mercury too for some reason. Because Mercury is just so cool. Like she's that
yeah.
girl. I'm torn. Okay, I'm torn. Dustin for obvious reasons, guys, and Fran,
Okay.
I'm
That's
torn.
fair. And you can mix it up, huh?
Who who would you pick Fran as if you had to pick her to
I
be a
was
scout?
thinking Sailor Moon, but also, I don't know. Because I feel like she does have like the emotions to be Sailor Moon, but
Right, all the love
yeah.
and overcoming evil and all that. Like that's what that's why I was like, because Queen Serenity, she's so established. I was like, definitely Serenity is
Mhm.
Fran, but when she Usagi, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fran don't get it down. If anything, Fran could be Small Lady because Small Lady was had her quips about
Okay.
her.
Well, maybe
Chibi.
she's Sailor Venus then, because I feel like Sailor Venus has them a little bit more together, but also is all about the love. Like she literally has love.
Oh my God, Venus. I was confusing Venus and
Uh,
Mercury. Venus is who I
okay.
was thinking about while I was saying
Gotcha, gotcha,
Mercury.
gotcha.
Because Venus is that girl. Because Mercury was the
Hmm.
book smart
Yeah,
Amy,
yeah, good
right?
with tech and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, Fran wouldn't be
Okay.
Amy at all. No. Venus is like a cool girl. So like Fran would definitely like Venus came with the vibes and the love. So that's why so yeah, I would give
Okay.
Fran Venus for sure. Final answer. Now we have
I
it.
accept it. I'm gonna ask this too because I feel like the favorites you named. I don't know if you identify with them as much. So who do you think you would be?
Ooh. I would definitely be Serena because I am ditzy and I cry a lot and when it gets down to it I can get things done. But yeah, I do see a lot of Serena in myself. But I would also, but you know what? Dustin would be Moonlight Knight because that was like a little, like that was like the randomest era, but it was so cool and it was a vibe. That's who Dustin would be. He would be Moonlight Knight. He'd be there for like Effie, one night only, one night only. Who would I be though? I would be. Hmm. I feel like Usagi might be my final answer because she's just so all over the place, and I'm so all over the place like her. Like I feel like somebody would call me something as stupid as a meatball head. Like when I was younger, my cousins had nicknames like that for me. So yeah, Usagi, I would be Sailor Moon because in the name of the moon, I will punish you.
I love that, and there's no shame in that. I also identify with Serena and Sailor Moon. I think I can be very ditzy, and but I also like when it comes down to it, like I'll get it together. You know, so I
Right?
feel like there's no shame. I love it. Absolutely. I think you guys make a good team then. I see why the podcast works now.
Yes.
um, and you have another, huh?
You get it.
I
I
get
said
it.
you
I
get
get
it.
it. You got Venus, you got Moonlight Night. That's so funny too, also, Moonlight Night.
Do you remember
I
that
do.
story
That was
arc?
so good. I love it. The little Arabian.
Like Sailor Moon did some
Hmm.
things. Like we didn't even get into
Yeah,
Pegasus.
I loved it. I loved Little Moonlight. It's so funny because I actually like Moonlight Night better than Tuxedo Mask. He was cooler.
Right? Moonlight Night was that dude. That's what I was like, nah, Dustin got to be Moonlight Night because I fucked with him harder than I did Darian at
Yeah,
Tuxedo
yeah.
Mask.
He was just cool. Like something about him. I was like, ooh, he mysterious. Like who's that?
All right, on the scene. Look, he kept his speeches way shorter than Darian did, and he was definitely making a statement when he was on the scene. I was like, all right, well, all right. The little roses played out from Darian from Tuxedo Mask. We don't even want it no more. And I knew it was the same person, but I was like, no, this is like when it was
Oh,
Steve Urkel versus Stefan Urkel. Yeah,
it literally was that.
always choosing
Yeah,
Stefan.
Stefan was way better. I completely agree. That's so funny because I feel like I was like definitely just not. I don't know. I was not smart as a young person because I did not know they were the same person. Um, and I feel like it was just like, no, it can't be. Like we've seen Darian, it can't be him. And then it was just like, it is him. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh,
I remember arguing about it because I had no like sure evidence. So like my only evidence was like I was like, look at the eyes, and they're like, it's a cartoon. Everyone's eyes
mm,
look like that. And I'm like, I know, but the voice might kind of sound like no. And we didn't have like Shazam or anything back then. Not that Shazam would know to say this is the Sailor Moon episode, and you're
right.
Shazamming such a voice, and he plays these
You needed
actors too. But
IMDb.
I knew it was
You
his
needed
ass.
IMDb. It's okay. You knew. Now they know. Now they know.
Okay,
Right.
everybody know now. Did they bring back Moonlight Night and Crystal?
Did they? I don't remember actually. I don't think so.
All right, Crystal, y'all better reboot the night now. Y'all got
I
to bring
don't.
them back.
Man, I'm like blanking out right now. It's so bad. But I don't think they did.
Have you watched all of Crystal or Eternal or whatever
I
the new ones are all
did, but
called?
it's been a while. I did watch Eternal, and I meant to binge all of Crystal before the movie came out, but I didn't. So I haven't watched it in like years. But yeah, I don't think he's in there because I think that was something they added only to the 90s English version, or I mean in the anime, the original, because the new ones
Oh,
follows the manga a little bit closer, and I don't think he's not in the manga.
okay. That,
Yeah,
that's something that's gonna go down as something we remember, but no one actually believes
basically,
happened
yeah.
at
'Cause I
some
think
point.
he's technically like a filler character to a degree. Yeah, because it was like the manga
Mm.
was still coming out, and like, oh,
Well, Moonlight Night, we remember you and we respect
well,
you.
love you, Moonlight Night. But yeah, on to your other podcast. If I were a rapper, how did that come about?
Yes, if I were a rapper. So because I'm the music man on my show, I was actually doing live shows for people in New York, and it was actually I did in a couple different places, but New York mainly is where it birthed. But I love having fun with people. I love talking about music, and I love nostalgia. So if I were a rapper, is my game show that turned into a podcast where I brought people on to, well, yeah, I turned into a podcast where I brought people on to just have fun, talk about music, talk about their favorite moments in music, because everyone has favorite music, but regionally, some of us might have heard some songs more than others, if at all. And then there are also those like little gems that you get on YouTube that are leaked demos that some of us may not have gone out of our way to get. So it's just a place where it's informative on people. It's where people get to inform you on their favorite artists and the things that they like about them, or where your favorite artist might stop by and talk about their favorite things about themselves or other people. But I'm gonna bring it back at some point. I just gave it a break because I love doing the live show way more than I did the podcast. But then COVID hit, so then I was like, you know what, maybe I'm gonna bring back the podcast. So yeah, if I were a rapper has been like my beautiful, beautiful pet project that everyone still asks about to this day. So I know I have to give it another life, and I can't wait to share the new legs it gets when I announce that actually, because I've been working on it a lot in
Ooh, okay,
COVID.
yeah, I'll be looking out for it. I was listening to it um over the past week, and of course I went to the episode that like had the Sailor Moon art. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And did you hear why I said what inspired me to use that art? Or I don't know if I actually said on
I
the
don't think
episode.
so, or I forgot.
So, so the reason that I used it, I don't know if I said it on the episode. That's why I was like, well, let me just say this because the reason that I used it was because uh, as me talking about my favorite music, one of the artists who I just could not get out of my head at the time was Flo Milli, and this was like her second or third song that she was like putting out, and I think this was the one that was like, okay, like girl, this is the hit. And so when it was up on Spotify, it was a chocolate Sailor Moon, and I was like, this is so cute. I love the song because it was a Flo Milli's song called Beef, the Flow Mix, and the song was just catchy as hell. And then every time I would look at like my phone screen, I would see her album cover, which was the Chocolate Sailor Moon. So I said to myself for my podcast when I was doing the different covers for it, I was like, I need to do like a Chocolate Sailor Moon cover because I just have to do something that speaks to love and my passion and Sailor Moon. The, Serena's all about love and passion. Well, Usagi's all about love and passion. So yeah, when the interest
I
align.
love that. I did not know that at all. And now I'm like, I gotta check out this Flo Milli cover because that sounds dope. Hmm.
Well, she
Okay, I was just
updated it
looking. Okay.
now, but like, cause yeah, because you know she I guess she made it and somebody was like, "Hey girl, you should get like a different cover or something more professional or whatever they thought." But I thought that the Sailor Moon cover was like so lit. I was like, "This looks
Yeah.
so cute."
No.
And then she just switched it up on me. Now it's like a cover of her, with a cool like animation cover, but she
Yeah.
was cool. Or she
Shout out
is
to Flo
cool.
Milli. Yeah,
Shout
I
out to
need to
Flo
get
Milli.
her on the show one day because there's so many Moonies out there that are just so dope, and I'm just like, I just want to talk to all of them. But yeah,
Yeah, you could tell a lot about a person if they be hating on Sailor Moon. I ain't gonna lie.
low key, I'm like, I look at someone's side eyes, like you don't like what you don't like. How can you not like Sailor Moon? You just don't like love and justice. Like, what is it? Like, don't like good
Like
feelings? Like, I don't know.
Like no, I have to like really be like, whoa, like maybe I did something. And they're like, no, it's just that you know. I'm like, well, no, then you did something because it don't make no sense why you don't like.
Hmm. No kind of sense. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, but that's so cool. Yeah, there's so many dope Sailor Moon fans.
Right?
Yeah. Actually, so who would you say is your top five right now? Actually, you mentioned Flo Milli.
Ooh, top five right now.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm not saying this because she was just on the show, but Dawn Richard is definitely in my top five as always. I
Mhm.
actually play a lot of her music on like a regular basis, and people are like, "I can't believe you still play that." And I want to just give myself a pat on the back right quick because I did not like lose it as a fan as much as I wanted to on the show. I was doing my best to be professional, so now that she's not here, I can do it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But there are old albums of hers that I still play to this day. Like they just came out, and it's like, you know, she has a new album out, right? And then I'm like, bust it for me, and I like bust that out right quick to remind myself. But uh, Dawn Richard is definitely on the list. She's top of the list. Justine Skye,
Mm.
a lot of R&B girls. I'm probably gonna say right now. Oh, actually, you know what? So yeah, Dawn Richard, Justine Skye, and the last person or last woman I'm gonna say is Kiana Lede because those are like the three R&B artists that I can't get out of my head. And then, well, actually, four R&B artists because Keanu Lede was on this artist project, which is why he's on the list. But there's an artist named Tone Stiff, and he just put out a project called FWM, Fuck With Me. And I love his voice, I love his tone. And then there's also a song that he has on his project with Keanu Lede called Be Quiet, which I couldn't stop listening to. So I like his new project, and I like the song with Keanu Lede. And Keanu Lede's got some new songs out, one with Kaylani that I super love. It's the bomb. Um, who was my last artist? I don't want to sound crazy. Oh, you know what? Uh, I've been killing Normani's new song too. I gotta give it up to all the R&B girls and Tone Stiff. But Normani's new song, and I had to throw hers in there because people are saying that they did not need Cardi's verse on there. I absolutely needed it. Cardi rapped her verse for me. So yeah, happy Normani's back. But I love all these artists. Like these are artists that I really um like Tone Stith. I've listened to his project. Like he's had a few projects that I've listened to, and I like listening to people that are really good, even if they're not talked about enough, because they are just so good, and I just love them. And I love the fact that Dawn Richard came on my show because she's been so amazing and so great for so long, and now I feel like I've had a piece of that greatness. So yeah, I listen to a lot of music. That was a very hard game for me to play, so thank you for
Yeah,
that.
no worries. It's always hard. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to ask this, but hey, I mean, I feel like everyone has their artists they're listening to and who they're getting into, and I feel like also you gave me like the Sailor Scouts and Tuxedo Mask just now, which is really funny. Like a bunch of like R&B girls, and then the guy.
Yep, yep.
Oh,
Tone Stith would definitely be a tuxedo mask. Yep.
that's so funny. But yeah, that's a great list. Yeah, I also love Cardi's verse. Like I love a good rap verse on an R&B song. So and a Cardi always kills it for me. So completely agree with you there.
Right? Some people felt like it was too much or it was too rough, and it's like the song is called Wild Side, and so Cardi got a little
Hmm.
wild, and I just thought it was good. So, of course, you liked it too. You have taste. I mean, we've already established, it's exceptional over here.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all it is. Just get it together, people. And then we talk a lot about music, but I'm wondering, do you watch any other anime? Are you into comic books?
I am not in the comic books right
Hmm.
now. I want to read like this. I need to go and read all of like the Secret Wars and all that stuff, like the
Oh
Marvel
yeah.
stuff. And as far as anime, I have been out of anime land for a while. Like I was watching, like I think the last good thing that I watched was like Shield Hero and Fate ReZero. Is it Fate ReZero? No,
Oh,
okay, so
Fate
I
Stay
think I'm
Night.
putting two things
Mhm.
together. Yeah, I put Fate Stay Night together, which I'm obsessed with that whole series and how they like come back different but like the same, and how there's like different like arcs of it. Obsessed with that. But also ReZero. I said Fate ReZero first, but ReZero where he like keeps coming back or like he keeps dying but like coming back to a certain point. It's like really fucked up, but I love that one. And I need to get back. There are ones that I watched, but because I like going to watch old ones that have full sets, the new ones that I watched, I kind of fell off because they were doing like the regular releases, and I hate waiting for shit to be released, which is so spoiled and stupid. But I was watching Jujutsu Kaisen, I think. Is that what
Oh
it is?
yeah, I haven't watched that one yet, but I hear it's really good.
It was so good. I just, I was so spoiled. I was like, I can't keep waiting for this to come out, so I'm just gonna wait for the season to end. I'm gonna come back to this. I also watched Fire Force for one or two for
Mhm.
like the first season, and then I stopped in the middle of the second one.
Yeah, it's hard keeping up with these anime kids sometimes. I don't know. I haven't watched Fire Force yet either. I hear Jujutsu Kaisen's good. I like My Hero Academia. It's funny.
Oh yeah, love My Hero, but I need to catch up on My Hero
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. The fifth season I think just started, or the fourth season. I think it's the fifth season. Um, but it's funny when you said Fate ReZero, I was just like going along with it because I was like, there's so many different fates. I was like, that's probably one of them.
Right, there's so many.
I don't even know.
It's crazy when I looked it up. I was like, all right, let me see what other Fates I need to watch. And then it's like, watch the Fate series in chronological order. And
Mhm.
then it said that there were these different like storylines or arcs to go down. I was like, wait a minute, this is like a whole thing. And then they had like the Prisma spinoffs, like where they're like little chibi babies or something. I was like, this is very intricate, which I'm into, but I also need a better guide.
Yeah, it's a lot. I was like, there's totally a Fate ReZero. I don't even know. Like, I have not.
And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I have to remember to add that to
Ooh,
the list. Are
yeah,
you into JoJo's?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, and the parts I've seen I liked, but I haven't watched it straight through yet. But it seems hilarious and like just really fun.
I have to say the first couple seasons, because it's been out for so long,
Hmm.
they might drag a little bit, but it is a very rewarding anime, like how it evolves. I like how it starts off with them, having some supernatural elements, and then they evolve it to what their stand users are what they're called, and how it all comes into fruition where they're like finding each other, and then the JoJos it's like a long. like list of his bloodline that where some of this power comes from. It's really cool to watch. At first, I wasn't really into it, but then Megan Thee Stallion said she liked it, so then I got into it, and it paid off. And it paid off in the end. Now I'm waiting for like the newest arc to come out.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't know Meg liked it. Now I gotta watch it.
Exactly, exactly. I was like, the hottie said this is lit. I'm
Right.
on it.
All right. Let me go watch it now. Get on
Right.
board. All right. Okay. 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 That's cool. And how do you practice self care? Because I know like your podcast is about mental health and not having a dusty brain. So what do you do to practice self care?
Well, I love unwinding and because I listen to music for work now, so
Um,
anime is one of the ways that I unwind because I I don't know what it is, but I like being visually intrigued. And so watching music videos used to be it, but because I listen to work now, anime was like the thing that I dipped back into because it's something about being like I don't know, anime just can take me out of my world. Like it'll immerse me from the music, from like, the language, like the way that Japanese is spoken is just so intentional, it feels like. So I'm able to kind of I have to really pay more attention, which is good because I'm like immersed in it. It's not like I feel like it's a chore. I feel like, wow, I get to put on my VR headset and log on like this is Sword Art Online and be in these people's world versus it feeling like, let me hurry up and watch this before I have to do something. So it's a good way to unplug when I watch anime. But also being quiet sometimes. Like I like silence. I remember I think we talked about on the friend zone before, really being silent and seeing what the conversations are like with yourself. And I'm the youngest child in my family, so I think I had moments where I just enjoy talking to myself. So I like when it's quiet and I can kind of be alone with my thoughts. And those are the moments that really help me reset and refresh and allow me to be my best self, if you will.
Yeah, that's so funny. I was trying to explain that to someone. I was on someone else's show, and it hasn't come out yet, but we're trying to figure out what it is about anime that just is so relaxing, even more so than other shows or other, American TV or yeah, or than American TV or American animated series. And there's just something different. And I think maybe it's like you said about Japanese being a very intentional or like reading subtitles and really having to force yourself to slow down and like pay attention.
Right, and really process what's happening.
Yeah. Also love silence too. Like as the older I get, the more I'm just like I just want to sit in silence for like an hour.
Oh my God, it's just so calming and it feels like there was a point in time where I guess it would get silent and all of my thoughts would pour in, but now when it gets silent, it feels like easy. It's like I can just be like, okay, now we can kind of like organize ourselves or feel
Mhm.
free or not even feel. Let's just enjoy that for a little bit and then I just like go black.
Yeah, just blank. Or just like, oh, let me process like things that's going on right now. Or like let me brainstorm this thing and just like sit still and chill for a bit.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I totally get that. And then do you have any advice for anyone who would want to start a podcast and have like two successful podcasts like you do?
Uh, one and a half. No, I'm just kidding.
Mhm.
Advice is pick something easy and don't make it stressful. If you feel like something is becoming stressful, and work shouldn't be easy, I guess, but you want to be intentional about whatever it is that you do. So if you feel like work should be easy, I feel like work should be easy. So do what is easy for you. And when I say that, I think about how much I love music and how every time I'm around my friends, I always ask them what they're listening to or I play something for them. And so that's why it was just so natural to talk about music because it's what I love doing. But also do something that's reasonable. Like some people will start a podcast and they don't know when they're gonna stop, and so they just have to do it every week. So if you decide that you're gonna do like a weekly podcast, or if you do it seasonally, and you're like, we're gonna do this podcast for 8 weeks, and you don't have to announce at the top of it that it's 8 weeks, but you just want to make sure that you're doing things that are reasonable. Because if you do a podcast that's the same that everybody else is doing, you're gonna have to figure out a way to keep people listening. But here You're talking about like a shared interest among like a couple generations, maybe a few generations, depending on the parents who are still watching the TV too. But when you have a podcast like this, it's so easy, or it can become easy to really hone in on what your guests like and the personality type and the vibe. But if you're not good at interviewing, I say also consider just doing something with your friends or your family that you know is easy, and yeah, just try things until something works for you. No pressure. Anybody can start a podcast or stop it and start a new one whenever they want. So yeah, be free, live free, try new things.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. That's this literally this podcast. I was like, ooh, I want to talk about Sailor Moon with dope people. That's gonna be fun and easy.
Yeah,
Like just get it done. And
especially since it has a new coming now of the Eternal and Crystal and all that. Because I feel old sitting here talking about it, trying to remember what their Asian names were because they use them now. I'm like, I have not watched the new stuff, but I know that they don't
mhm.
call them this anymore, so I have to. Someone
Yeah,
might be listening, like Serena. What is
listen.
that? Like, I'm like, she was Serena. Okay, I can't help it that Usagi just doesn't roll off my tongue. Sorry.
And I feel like gatekeeping is not a part of the Sailor Moon lifestyle. So y'all gonna have to deal with it. Sometimes Serena, we say Serena, sometimes we say Usagi. Like I do try to like say the names as like the creator intended them to be, but for the sometimes, like I can't help the names I grew up with either sometimes.
Right? Look, it's not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever signed off on the original deal to let those creative licenses be taken
True.
early on. I didn't do that. Had I had it my way, I would have been a purist from jump, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't. I was just a child, changing channels.
Yep. Just watching it on TV, chilling. And then, speaking of when you were a child, changing channels, you might remember Sailor Moon had her Sailor Moon says phrase at the end of every episode. So, what would your phrase be? The Sailor Asante says.
Ooh. Okay, so I said I had something I was going to say. Like I remember I had it, but then I thought about something else, right?
Ooh, okay.
Do you remember, you know how I end my podcast?
Oh, I think so.
Okay, okay, so I'm gonna give you the whole line, right? Sailor Moon says, "Stay black and protect your magic."
Okay, I do
I
remember
know some
that.
people, I know people are gonna be like, and I'm like, well, that's Sailor Moon said it, so that's what you have to do.
That's your sign.
In the name of the moon, protect your magic.
Mhm.
That's what Sailor Moon says.
Yes, 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 yes. What was the original one you had?
The original one I had was very ratchet, and I do not feel comfortable saying
All
it.
right, tell me afterwards.
I will definitely tell you afterwards.
I mean, I want to get ratchet sometimes too.
Well, okay. Well, so the one that I shared was the first one, and I wasn't gonna share because I was like, no, maybe because that's from the show. But the second one I was gonna share was way inappropriate, and I was like, no, I can't do it. But let's just say it was Cardi B on Wild Side.
Ooh, okay, all right, okay.
That's what Sailor Moon says. D Melo, okay.
Gotcha. What's next for you, and where can people find you?
Ooh, what's next for me? Well, we just finished doing a campaign for Target over at the Friend Zone. We did two bonus episodes. They sponsored episodes of us talking about summer. The first episode we dropped is called Black Summer. The second episode we did was questions where our listeners got to send in questions and we answered them on air. We After we wrap that Target campaign, what's next for me is getting to the next campaign. We've launched a Patreon over at the Friend Zone, and I talk about all of the things that I love on a show called ETA, which is Everything Asante. Our Patreon, if anybody's interested in joining, is patreon.com/the Friend Zone podcast. And you can always at me at Hey Asante, which is HeyAssante, and just say hello. Just say Hey Asante, and I will respond because I like when people say hey and say that you're a Moonie because why not be a Moonie, right? It's great,
It is great. I love that. You're like, just say hey.
right?
Yeah,
Just say, hey, it's Sante.
totally, totally agree. And once again, I am Victoria L. Johnson. You can find me at Miss Old School on Twitter and Instagram. find the podcast at Moonies Club on Twitter and Moonies_club on Instagram. We also have merch if you want to check that out at mooniesclub.com. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review if you like this podcast and a comment on Apple Podcasts. We would really appreciate it. And I've got to give a special shout out to Lisa De La Cruz, the host of The Wonder of Anime, who connected me with Asante, told me he was a Moonie, and now we have this episode. So thank you, Lisa. And
Thanks, Lisa.
and thank you, Asante, for coming on the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast.
It was a pleasure, Victoria. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Bye, Moonies.
Bye.